Welcome to the Alma Dorada podcast, a space dedicated to transformation, leadership, and awakening your inner power. Today, we have a very special guest. I am so excited. Pastor Linderia Watts, an incredible, powerful woman of faith who has dedicated her life to serve others. Pastor Linderia is a mother of four, a loving wife, a publisher, author, and founder of a clinic
Mhm.
that transforms life through her autobiography, A Butterfly with Broken Wings, and her poetry collection, Night Dreams. She
Mhm.
shares her journey of resilience, faith, and overcoming adversity. Pastor Linderia, as you can tell, I'm very nervous, but I'm very, very grateful with the Creator. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Oh goodness, that was a lot. I did a lot.
Yes, isn't it that when somebody else read what we do is when we realize how well it is. So let's start this amazing conversation. Tell us who is Pastor Linderia? Who is Linderia Watts?
Who am I? Okay. Well, if you would have asked me who I am 5 years ago, it would have been a different story from who I am now. Now I am a woman on a mission. And my mission is simply to help God's people find who they are and who He is and reconnect with Him. And if I was to sum me up in one word, it would simply be God's chosen. That's it. And I think throughout life, it teaches you a number of things. And I think that the thing that life taught me the most is you'll never you'll never be down because tomorrow is always another day to get back up. And I think that my story is she got up. Hmm.
Love it. A woman in a mission. That's, oh,
Hmm.
wow, it's so powerful. What was your childhood like, Pastor Linderia? What
Uh,
inspired you?
yeah. So we grew up very, very, very poor. Very poor. My mom was a teen mom and she was single. She had 5 kids and no education, but she fought through everything. She went and got her GED and she became a college graduate and ended up buying a house and raising us differently. But in the beginnings, until I was a teenager, we struggled. We had no food, lights got cut off. Like we were struggling, like very, very poor. But in that, I watched my mom worship God like nobody else. And at times I would often wonder, like, if God is real, why are we like this? Like, why are we struggling? But she never gave up. She always went back to God and she taught us the Bible. We knew it inside and out. We did Sunday school. We did Bible study. We did Wednesday Bible study. Like, she had us depend on God. And through that, we see God move in her life like never before. So in my life, I strayed away from God when I was like in my 20s because I was like, I'm just gonna party, I'm gonna live my little life, and okay, whatever. And it wasn't until I had my first child when I realized, like, I can't live like this. Something has to change. And I went back to my first love and my roots, which was instilled in me from my mom in childhood. So that's where I learned God from.
That's so amazing. You
Mhm.
know, I follow you on the social media, and
Mhm.
in my mind you always been a pastor, and it's amazing because most of women or most of people think that to become a pastor you have to be holy from the beginning, and I believe that to understand how the underworld work, you have to go and walk through hell, Pastor Lindera. Such a
Yeah.
great story. Can you tell us a little bit more about your experience as a child? Where did you live and how it was?
So I grew up in Florida, born and raised here in Florida. And in Florida, we have a place called Village and Forest Green, and it's the projects. It's like where the poorest of the poor grow up at. And there's no help. Everyone's on like government assistance, and it's crime. The crime is outrageous. Like it was the crack epidemic. So it was like drugs everywhere, prostitutes everywhere, shootings, all kind of stuff. It was just like that was just my reality for the majority of my life until I was like 14. That's all I had known. So when my mom moved us from there when I was 14, she had got married, and we moved to the suburb. I was like, what is this? There's no noise, there's no fighting, there's no like what like wait, what is this? It was truly a culture shock, and I didn't know how to navigate that version of my life, because for 14 years of my life all I known was fighting, shooting, cutting, drugs, drug dealers. Like, that's all I've known. So it took a while to adjust to my new surroundings, and it was just a different thing that happened. But in life, we can't stay the same. We always have to change. But the majority of my life, that's all I've ever known. No food, lights getting cut off, fights. Like, it was crazy. My mom tried to shield us and keep us inside, but it was only so much you can be shielded from the truth. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. You've been through so much in your life, from
Mm-hmm.
growing up in the projects to becoming a pastor, a businesswoman.
Yes.
Congratulations. I
Mm-hmm.
am very, very inspired by you.
Thank you.
There is any time in your life that you question about, like, what am I doing?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. Even now, I think the question will always be there, because we're not God. We're not omnipotent. We don't know everything. For me, when I first started becoming a pastor, like 6 years ago or so, um, I had faced so much criticism, one, being a woman and deciding to step out and pastor. Although I come from a long line of women pastors and evangelists, my mom's an evangelist. So I've seen it done, but I've never been the one on the other end. So when I first started, men were very mean. They were like, women shouldn't preach. First Timothy. They would quote all these convoluted scriptures to me, and they would be so rude. And then some women would be jealous and wouldn't want me to come in and want. So it was just opposition I was facing. So I said, God, are you sure about this? Like, you sure you're choosing me? Like, are you sure that you're choosing me, God? And he would give me more confirmation, more confirmation. And then doors would begin to open and everything would begin to change. But I would still doubt myself. Even after my first time getting up pastoring, I broke down in the hallway. I was like, are you sure you told me to do this, God? It was really great. Everyone was clapping, but inside I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know, God. What if I said the wrong thing? What if I read the wrong scripture? What if I didn't? It was always the what ifs. But if we let the what ifs take over, we will never take the first step. And even now, as this pastor that everybody knows, I still struggle with, God, did you really call me to do this? Is this really, am I even making a difference in people's lives? Like, it's always there.
Yeah, I think that's the humble part, right? Of being a human, that I am really the chosen one. And yes,
Mm-hmm.
you are, Pastor Linderia, you are the chosen one. In your autobiography with A Broken Wings, you speak about your struggles and your process of transformation. What does being a butterfly with broken wings means to you?
Yes. So the title of it is because in the projects, I was like 7 or 8. We moved to the very back in Y200, and it was a ditch and a field on the side. And in the springtime and the summertime, it would sprout up these flowers that would attract the nectar for the butterflies. So my mom would walk us across the ditch to go over there, and we would catch the butterflies in the field with our hands, and then we would let them go. But you had to be gentle or you would break its wings. So when I have the autobiography, it's my life. And if I'm not gentle with myself, my wings will be broken just like the butterfly. And we can't see the beauty that we carry. So it reminds me of the butterfly. I will never know the true beauty that I have. I can't see it, but the world can see it. But if I'm not gentle with myself, I will break my own wing. So it's just me saying how I damaged myself over the years because I did not know that I had beautiful wings. I did not know that I had color. I did not know I had depth. I didn't know I was me. So I broke my wings, but now I'm back.
Wow, that's such a powerful message, especially for
Mm-hmm.
women around the world who are not gentle with thyself,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow, I love it. So be gentle to yourself and repair your
Mm-hmm.
wings. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for that insight. Your life mission is incredibly powerful. You run a clinic and you travel around the world, spreading the
Mm-hmm.
word of God and
Mm-hmm.
changing life What has been your experience as a pastor, and how
Mhm.
have you witnessed the power of faith transformation in the life of so many people around the world?
Um, I think that the biggest transformation, or even just the biggest impact, is me actually getting in the field and going out to travel. Last year, my mission was just to get out and reach as many people as I possibly can. I think the scariest part for me was going to Los Angeles by myself to a place I've never known. And, it was very scary for me to walk out and say, okay, I'm going to baptize complete strangers. Everybody, I just gave my location. Everybody meet me here. God, you said I'm this. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Like we're gonna do blind faith. And in this day and age with the kind of world that we live in, a woman traveling by herself to go to a complete different city, and I didn't even know it was a ghetto part of Los Angeles. I didn't know. I just picked a location, but God knew. And so I end up in the hood in Los Angeles. And I'm just in the middle of the ocean, just baptizing God's people. And then we had actually had a session where we all sat on the beach and I ministered the word, and like so many people just kept coming and coming. And I was out there from 12 to 5, just in the ocean, sitting with God's people as they continued to come and come and come and come. And what God had said to me when I first began pastoring is, if you build it, they will come. And if you stay obedient and faithful, the people will come to you. So I feel like, to me, staying in faith no matter what, trusting God no matter what, because He's going to always protect you, and doing the crazy thing. It's crazy to go out to a place that you've never been. It's crazy to do these things. But if you do this with God, He will lift you up. I've never felt more loved than when I travel and I preach. There is so many people waiting for that God to be there. You're that little bit of God that they're going to get, and they can feel that anointing, because you can't fake the anointing. That's one thing you can't do. They know. And people just want to be heard and be hugged on and to be loved. And God is waiting on us to answer the call.
I just got goosebumps in my arms when you say you cannot fake the anointing.
Mm-hmm.
It's so powerful. It's true. You cannot fake it. God have His purpose. We
Mm-hmm.
know you have a heart full of love and compassion. In these times, how do you see God's plan for women? What role do you think women are called to be play in this world that we're living today?
Well, I think a woman is called to be a woman. And that is just everything that is inside of it: the rib, the nurturer, the provider, the protector, just the overall love. A woman is love. She embodies love, and that is what God is. So we are the embodiment of love for God. And if we take the love that God gave us and we put it out in the world, we can start healing. What does a child do when they cut themselves? They run to their mom, and you just kiss a little cut and it gets better. The world just needs a kiss from a woman to know that it's okay, that God is with us. And it's to love the world differently. We already got enough lions out here. Can we be the lamb? Can we bring them in as the lamb? We don't need to be angry. We don't need to be. It's a time for righteous anger, and it's a time for love. And I believe that the women are rising up, and we're going to have power and authority, but we're also going to have this softness about us, because it's a softness about women. And we're going to be able to articulate our words so everyone can understand us from every walk of life, whatever color, whatever gender, whatever nationality. We're all going to understand, because we're going to have this openness. And you know how you can see somebody that has love with their eyes? When they look at the women that God is putting up there, they're going to see that love that God has and that glow that God has for these women. So in this year, and I perceive next year, there's going to be a rise of women in power and position that are poised and humble and full of love. And when they speak, things are going to move.
I love it. Oh, very powerful. Is God
Mhm.
speaking through you, Pastor Linderia? Many of our listeners are women who are
Mhm.
seeking to discover their purpose and empower themselves to make a difference. I can speak from my country in Honduras. Even though we have a woman sitting in the president's seat, He's not the one who is governing our nation. And
mm,
it's so much suffering, women getting
mm,
killed every single day. We
mm,
don't have any human rights. And the poverty, even though we are so wealthy, we are natural resources. I believe that's why we have 5 stars, because
mm,
our natural resources are unbelievably. We are so wealthy, but the population is really poor.
mm.
So, with that being said, what advice would you give to women who are going through difficult times and feel that their purpose is out of reach?
I don't think anything is out of reach. If you can dream it, you can achieve it. I think there's a struggle at first. It's a slow start, but that doesn't mean it's not going to go. Don't give up. If you can dream it, that is God giving you a vision. God speaks in dreams and in visions. And if He gave you that dream, it's going to come to pass. Hold on to it with the little bit of faith that you have. It is already in the Bible when the woman with the issue of blood, she was crawling through because she had this much faith that if she just touches Jesus' garment, she would be healed. If we just hold on to that garment for dear life, no matter what society is saying, no matter what we're seeing, God is going to come through. I remember being that woman that you're speaking of when I had my son. And my first son isn't from my previous child's father. He was out of wedlock. He was everything. And I was struggling with him, and we had no place to go. We had no food. I was homeless. I was like, God, what am I going to do with this baby? I don't got $2 to rub together. I get a phone call from someone saying, hey, I have a place for you. You can move in the next 7 days. I was like, hold on, Jesus, this has to be you. I was crying on my hands and knees. I don't know what else to do. But God is saying that's when I can do it. He says, let the weak say I am strong. Start speaking into your circumstance, because at my lowest, God always delivered me every single time when I think there's no way out. Like, okay, God, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. He says, that's why I'm here. So although you don't see a way out, it's not for you to see. It's for you to hold the faith. Keep the faith. Raising babies up, having the faith. Raise yourself up, having the faith, no matter what. And keep the people that don't believe out of your ears. And watch your eyes, and stop watching the news and the politics and all these things, because that's what the devil does, propaganda. You watch what God says. He says that you're healed. He says that you're blessed. He says that you're wealthy. And although you may not see it right now, doesn't mean it's not coming. It's a not now, but God is about to do it for you. Just keep that little bit of faith and watch what happens.
Wow, yes, keep that little bit of faith. And yes, propaganda and the media are doing a really good job to keep our
Mm-hmm.
child godless. I experience that every day, and I'm like, how do we get here? But I also have that faith that you talk about, that we have the power to transform this. And
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the grandest missions that I have. I believe that God put us here in the right place, in the right time,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why we are here doing this podcast at this particular moment in your
Mm-hmm.
life. In ministry, you have witnessed many miracles and
Yes.
transformation. Could you share with us a powerful experience where you helped someone find healing and purpose?
Well, I can describe one that I didn't even see coming. I think when I was in Texas, and I was praying for people at the very end of the event. At the very end of the event, I was praying for everyone, and I'm thinking like, okay, everyone's gonna go. I had different pastors. I'm like, everyone's gonna go to them. I looked up, and the line was long. It was almost an hour long of line of people waiting for me to pray for them, and I just kept looking up like, God, they keep coming. And there's one particular person. She walked in, and I saw something on her. And I was like, okay. She got down and she touched me. And when she touched me, she just went into convulsions and she started screaming out. And it was just echoing from everything. And I knew at that moment that she needed a miracle and that she needed a healing that no one else but God can give. And everyone was around her and the room was quiet. And you just heard her just screaming, gut wrenching screams. And she went back and she was just foaming at the mouth. And when she got done, I was praying over her and just telling God that you got to come do a miracle for this baby. Like, she needs you. She's fighting something that's bigger than me. She finished that and she just looked up at me in sound mind and body. And she got up. She drank her water and she sat back down, sane and sober. Just the miracle of God had happened in her life. And I was like, God, I saw her, but I didn't know. And when she touched me, I knew that this baby needed a miracle that only you can do, that she needed deliverance that only you can do. And I've only done that twice in my lifetime. And I was like, oh my goodness. Oh, okay. I was at the right place at the right time. Because some people just needs a touch. I don't know. That it still gets me to this day. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I love it. Some people just need a touch. And in this particular era that we're living, people are used to just believing when they see something, and they have lost that faith of believing that the extraordinary things are the things that we don't see.
I think you just go back to the Bible when Jesus died on the cross and then he came back. And then the disciples were sitting at the table and they all believed that Jesus did. But Doubting Thomas, Jesus had to show him the holes in his hands to show them that he was real. In this day and age, because in the Bible says, blessed are those who believe without seeing. That's what faith is, the evidence of those not seen, the things that is not seen. It is easy for us to believe something that is visible, very correct, but it is hard to believe in something that is invisible. But I like to say that God is not invisible, because if he lives in us, then we're walking as God. We're walking as his vessels. So when we say that we believe in something that we can't see, we can't. I see God in you. You see God in me. It's a reflection. God has a look. Like demons have a look. We know what they look like. The devil has a look. Everything has a look. And if we're looking for God, we can find him in the echoes of the wind. We can find him in the trees. We can find God everywhere. So when someone says that they don't see him, I'll challenge their eyesight, because God is very visible. And I'll tell them to look again. We want to believe in extraterrestrial activities, aliens that they show us. We want to believe in the aliens in the ocean and NASA, but we don't want to believe that they can't break the firmament, which they can't. Many have tried and can't be broken. I think that we go back to the Bible, there's many examples of things that still cannot be explained by man or science. And if they can't explain it, God already broke it down in the Bible. It is already written. So I don't know. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I love it.
Mhm.
We are actually the embodiment of God. And
Mhm.
in my personal opinion is that because we've been told by many religions that God is a white man with a white bear in the skies, and like we are all
Mhm.
different colors, different cultures, and that doesn't make sense. Can you
Mhm.
tell us a little bit about what you think about what I just say?
I believe that you have to see God for yourself. I believe that we want to see something physically. When you have an interaction with God, you will never forget it. You will never forget it. I remember when God set me down as I was driving down the road and I had to pull over because I felt something on me. And I was screaming out and crying, and I was rocking back and forth as he was telling me 6 years ago that I was going to be a pastor, that I was going to be a prophet. And I was like, I'm just trying to go to work. What's going on, Jesus? And then after that, I began to have very vivid dreams and very vivid visions. And I would prophesy these things and they would come to pass. And I just thought I was crazy. And it was a dream that I had, and I was kneeling down, and there was this huge figure that was standing above me. And I couldn't see his face, but I knew it was God. And it was so huge and didn't have color. And I couldn't see his face, but I knew that I had saw him to this day. And whenever he comes, I can never see his face, but I just know that he's there. It's this huge figure. So I don't think that God cares about color, but he will show himself to you.
Absolutely. Wow. Your life is a testimony of overcoming and living with purpose. What impact have you seen in your life since you began living your purpose with more clarity and dedication?
Um, so what I strive to do is raise up not just women, but men, and help make disciples. And at first I faced opposition, and now, as we know, like I'm viral in a lot of places. And one thing I love to do is watch the growth of the women that come under me, and I help elevate to next levels. And I helped ordain a pastor this year actually. And just watching her grow and just watching other women, I have women under me as well, just watching them grow into this beautiful creature that God is creating. And then just watching the men actually be humble and be like, oh, she's really talking from God, like converting the negative naysayers saying that I can't preach, and watching them all just sit silently and say, let me get my notepad out because God is speaking in the building. So watching God turn, the opposition of everyone saying that I need to be quiet and turn it into saying, oh, she's speaking from God. Let me sit down. Let me take notice. And just overall, just growth from everybody. And in my family, when I first started, everyone like kind of brushed me off. And now I'm even getting messages from my older cousins saying, hey, you leading the way, like you're breaking these curses, like you're doing it. And we're proud. And it's bringing up stuff that, in family, the secrets, they're not secrets any longer. It's having us heal as a family and even as a nation, I should say.
Pastor Linderia, we live in a very, for example, on this side of the earth, we live in a very machista society. Not sure if you understand the word where men, which I will say patriarchy probably in English it means. And we also know, as you speak before, that the Creator have great plans for women in this time. How do you feel that we are being called to rise as women to take their rightful place in society and lead with love, wisdom, and power, but also stay humble?
Well, to me, the rightful place of a woman is on the side of a man. We're not under and we're not beneath. We're right there. When God put Adam to sleep, he took the rib out and he put it into the woman. He didn't put the woman under the man's foot. He put them right there. It said in the Bible that a husband should submit to his wife, and a wife is equal. It's an equal playing field. And our place is in society is equal. So equality. And that is our God given right. And we will take that by any means necessary. And that means we're going to rise and we're not timid. We can be, but it's a time for that. And I don't think the time for us to be timid is now. I feel like the reason why we are the way we are now is because we have been timid. And the time for that is over. When I speak, I command the room. No one else. I command it because it's mine. And women need to know that this earth is ours. It is already written. So the humbleness is going to come because a lot of women are humble. It's just in us. We put everyone before us. And it's very rare that you see a woman putting herself first. We're going to put the dog outside first. We're going to put the tree down. We're going to put everybody first. But in this season, we're going to put ourselves first because we've been last for so long. But in the Bible, it says what's first should be last and what's last should be first. And we have been last for so long. And now it's time for us to come back to our first love. And our first love is going to be God. And when we put God in us, there's no way we can be timid. There's no way we can be quiet. There's no way. So we're going to rise up, and we're going to rise up with a voice, and we're going to rise up in authority. And the humbleness is already there. We don't need no more of that. We got that. We got that.
We are humble by birthright. I love it because people take equality. When we talk about equality, people think that we want to control and be this power and have look men like diminish them. I believe that equality it's we being able to take the right decisions, important decisions next to the men and
Mm-hmm.
be heard and not
Mm-hmm.
be ignored,
Mm-hmm.
right? Given the
Yes.
challenges women face in leadership roles, which is a lot all over the world, especially traditionally male dominated spaces, do you
Mm-hmm.
feel your role as a pastor has been met with the support, or have there been unique challenges in being a woman in ministry?
Yes. Before even ministry, I've been in corporate America for over 20 something years, and I faced opposition as a woman there. Um, in ministry, absolutely. One time I was like when I first began and I wasn't married yet, I was trying to get a building and they said, oh, where's your husband? And I was like, well, I don't have one yet. And it was like, well, you can't have the building unless you have a husband. I'm like, so I have to have a husband in order to have a building to preach in? There's like, yeah, you have to have a husband. So there's a lot of doors that I can't walk through as a woman pastor without having a husband. One, because they said I don't have a covering, and two, because they say I have no authority. So a lot of the times I'm faced with opposition when it comes to getting buildings for churches. And if I don't have like the right notoriety behind me, or it's just really hard to navigate those spaces in churches as a woman. It's just really hard. Even now, even now.
Yeah, the system have made it really, really hard for us.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's something that needs to be corrected by us,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
If you could leave a powerful message for all women, which I understand, and I want to leave clear to other women that are are spaces next to the men. But for those women, especially that are single, like for example,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a single mom, not by choice, but I am,
Mm-hmm.
who are listening today, what will it be?
I guess don't give up on yourself, and don't be so hard on yourself. You're not going to have all the answers, and that's okay. You're not going to have the finances, and that's okay too. Life is only as hard as we make it. And I think we need to find joy in the little things. And basically that God is gonna, let me just take it back. Let me take it back to myself because I was a single mom. That help is on the way. Let me say it like that. That help is on the way when you can't see it. And it's okay to cry in the shower. It's okay to cry in the bed. It's okay to even have to hold your breath as you cry and cry it out. And it's okay because God is going to help you figure it out. And it's okay to feel like you have no support system because God has you there for a reason, because He is the source, He is the resource. And it's okay to not have anybody to vent to because God is all we need. And all the tears and all the pain and all the fears, it's all for a divine purpose at the end of the day. And when we look at our kids and we look at ourselves, and sometimes we don't have the food for them and we don't have the life that we want to have for them, and we have them in a place that isn't becoming of them, and they're just struggling next to us, that it's all going to make sense in the end. We might not know right now, but in the long run, it's going to make sense. And just keep your head up. And don't let anybody shame you or guilt you and say you don't have this yet. And why don't you have this yet? And where's your husband? You live life one day at a time.
Mm,
Don't let people that don't have their own life together dictate your life.
mm,
Stay away from negativity because it's easy. The devil loves to come in and plant doubt, and he loves to come in and say that you can't be this and you can't be that. You can be anything you want to be. And it
mm,
doesn't matter how old you are or even how young you are. God used David as a teen, and God used Sarah as an older woman, 99. It doesn't matter about the age. You just hold that faith. And if that's all you have, hold on to it. I remember days where faith was all I had, and air was all I had to eat as I fed my children. I
mm,
remember those days. They're a distant memory now, but I remember them so well. I remember them in detail. And I remember telling my kids that it's going to be okay. And I didn't know if it really was going to be okay. I
mm,
had no idea. All I knew is I'm just going to keep making it every single day. I'm going to keep making it.
mm,
You keep making it. No matter what you see, no matter what the devil wants you to see, you keep making it. And
mm,
you raise those kids up and you love them kids. Put God first. Everything else is going to come. Don't give up ever.
Pastor Linderia, I love it. And I love that you mentioned about negativity and stay away from negative people. But what we do, for example, you had a great, wonderful mother.
Mm-hmm.
And for example, in the Latin communities, most of the time those negative people are your family, and most of the
Mhm.
time are your own
Mhm.
mother or your own father.
Mhm. Mhm.
What advice would you give us
Mhm.
to go through that with grace, because they still are mother and our father?
Mhm.
And how can we stay away from them,
Mhm.
but stay away from their negativity?
Mhm. I had a good mother. I didn't have a good father. So, as a matter of fact, I just went and saw my father last weekend, and it was 14 years since I seen him last. Yes. I separate myself from people who mean me no good, and people that would take me back to a situation that I prayed my way out of. Um, Growing up, always wanting to have a father present, and the father that I did have was so volatile, so angry, so I had to give him to God. And I've grown up, even in the Black community as well, where my friends' mothers were very abusive, very toxic, very, degrading to them, and all these things as well. So I saw it on their end. I didn't live it, but I lived it with my father. As an adult, I separated myself. I don't have a relationship with him. In time, maybe God can fix that. But as for me, it isn't healthy for me to be around him. I will not disrespect my father. I will not argue with my father. I will pray for my father, and I will let God deal with him. But he cannot have a place in my life. I forgive you for how you treated me and how you neglected me and how you abandoned me, but you do not have a place in my life, because sometimes our parents are just vessels to get us here. That doesn't mean they have to raise us. That doesn't mean they have to even love us. They had an obligation from God to deliver us. And now God is going to be our father. It says in the Bible, when our mother and our father forsake us, that God will lift us up. And although we want to love them, we really do, and we yearn to love them, it's not healthy for us to be in that same environment. So if you're a teen and you're going through it, it'll get better. Just when you get older, go, go. It's the reason why God had to tell Abraham to go from your family, to go. You're not supposed to always be there. You want to, but it's not healthy, nor is it safe. And you'll put yourself in depression trying to make someone love you that don't have the capacity to love you.
Absolutely. Stay away from negativity. You all
Get
hear it
away.
from the best, Pastor
Yes.
Linderia. If you could
Mm-hmm.
look in the mirror and speak to the woman who was searching for her purpose but still afraid of taking the first step, what would you say to her?
I don't, I don't even know if I was even searching for a purpose, because I think that I was so hopeless. And I think that I thought that, partying was going to be my lifestyle forever because I was so pretty, and everybody wanted me. So never looked for a purpose in life. It wasn't until God actually called me to be a pastor, and I was going through I was in a relationship for 17 years, and I was married to him for 9 months. And it wasn't until the last cheating episode that I said, you know what, God, something has to break in my life. Like, something has to break. Like, who am I? And that's when I got in the mirror and I said, God, who am I? And God began to speak to me. So I think that I would look in the mirror and I would talk to that girl that settled for absolutely garbage. I will look at her and say, who are you? Who are If you truly love yourself like you pretend to love yourself, then why are you settling for less when you're made for so much more? You put on hair and makeup and you smile and wave and you tell everybody that you have it all together, but you have no idea who you are. You have no idea who you are. And if I was to go back and tell her, I would say, little girl, sit down because you were doing all the wrong things. And I would say, just love yourself genuinely. And that's to take all of that off. Take the makeup off, take the hair off, sit with you for a second. Who are you? Who do you want to be? And what imprint do you want to leave on the world? And I'm not proud of that woman, but I've learned from that woman. And I've learned to love me genuinely. whether I have makeup on or whether I don't, whether a man loves me or whether he don't, whether people come and go in this lifetime, but I will always remain. And to find a purpose that is going to change the world and not just yourself, because it's easy to change yourself, but make an impact so big that God has to smile from heaven and say, that's my child. That's mine. So when the devil tries to come up and have war with you guys, like, not that one. That one's mine. She has a purpose. She has a mission. And she found out who she was. So take everything away and figure out who you are as a person. Not pretending to be, but who are you? And do you love that version of yourself?
Beautiful, beautiful. And finally, Pastor Linderia, everything that it's wonderful always come to an end. But finally, what word of faith and empowerment would you leave to those listeners who are in a place struggling to find their voice in a world and that is they feel that there is no hope because we have a lot of hopeless people nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think that we live in hopeless times, but one pebble dropped in the ocean makes a ripple. And it might seem so small as a pebble. And you might feel like, I'm just one person. There's billions of people in this world. Who's going to listen to me? I will. I will. Understand that if you're just that little pebble put in that big ocean, it's still going to you're still going to command the ocean to move, even if it's just a ripple. Your voice carries weight, even if it's just to one person. It still carries weight. Not to look at the numbers of a thing, but to look at the reaction of what's going to happen when you're picking the pebble up and you're dropping it in the ocean. You're going to look at the reaction that the ocean has, which it moves. When you open your mouth and you speak, look at the reactions that are happening. People are going to start gravitating to you because God is in you. Don't worry about the numbers at first because everything starts off slow. Even a car takes off slow. It revs up slow. Slow and steady wins the race. If you want fast, then you're going to get fast and it's going to end fast. Start off slow. Start off speaking to your next door neighbor if you got to. Whatever you got to do, just start off speaking. Even if it's just making a voice memo to yourself, because even you need to speak to yourself. Start off slow. Your impact will be monumental when God is ready. But in the beginning, start off slow. Don't be scared. And it's okay to feel hopeless because we're living in hopeless times. But you can be the light, even if it's just to your next door neighbor or to a nation or to whoever's on the bus. Don't look at it and say, hey, I can't do that. You can. You can do anything you put your mind to. The sooner you believe and receive that is the sooner that doors begin to open. And you have to remember, and this is why I have a big thing with the Bible, read it. In Genesis 1:26, it talks about the commanding that we have. We have dominion over everything in this world. That means we can say to anything to move out our way. Our voice has power. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. We have to realize that and begin to utilize it. But remember, not everything is going to come fast. It's going to be slow. It's going to seem hopeless. Keep going. Do it anyway. You're going to hear that. You remember you put that video up? Oh, I heard what you said. And you're not even going to know the impact, the true impact, until God starts showing you. But in the end of it, do it anyway. Your voice has power. You have power. And you might feel like you're in Honduras. You're thinking, well, I'm just one person. Well, this one person got a person in America who is very well known to jump on a podcast on her lunch break. You're one person and you have weight. And God says, I'm going to use you. One person can change a nation or even a country. Just one person. You have weight. Use it.
Wow, Pastor Linderia, thank you so much. God really spoke to us today through you. I can feel it in my pores and in the essence of my being.
Mhm.
Where can they find you? Please follow her and listen to her. And I want to congratulate you. You put a wedding. You have a wedding recently, or was your anniversary or wedding? Yeah.
Yeah, no. So I was in a relationship for 17 years. I was married for 9 months, and it was something that I should not have done. And I had got a divorce 2 years. It's been 2023 is when I got married, so almost a year ago. And in that, I went through some very dark times, and just deciding what I wanted to do, what kind of woman I was going to be, and I was just talking to God, and me and God, we went on a mission, and He sent in my husband now, and he was who I was with when I was 17 years old, and we reconnected, and we are married now, and I think that it's one of the best decisions that I've ever made in my life. And yeah, I'm not afraid to fall, and I'm not afraid to rise, and it's okay to make a wrong choice, but gotta fix it, gotta pick it up again. So yeah, I got married. Yes.
Congratulations to you.
Mhm.
I love your dress. That dress. I'm gonna copy that dress. Beautiful. And the boots.
Thank
I
you.
love it. And the whole outfit is fantastic.
Thank
Pastor
you.
Lideria, please tell the audience where they
Hmm.
can find you and follow you.
Hmm. Yes, yes, yes. I have TikTok. TikTok and YouTube is Reverend Linderia Watts. Facebook and Instagram and Threads are all verified with the blue check mark, and it's Linderia Watts. Um, yeah, I think that's all.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Pastor
Hmm.
Lideria, for being here with us today in the Alma Dorada podcast. Your presence is a gift, and we are so grateful with God for your truth, your love, and that you share with the word that you share with the world.
Hmm.
We know this episode will leave lasting impact to everyone who listened to it. May God bless you and bless all our listeners. And remember that you are the light in the darkness, so shine with God light, I should say.
Amen.
So thank you very much. And remember that Carola, your coach, love you with all her heart. Mwah.
All right,
Bye
thank
bye.
you.